guys, welcome to my recipe book with me, Tarika. So today I'm going to make a salad with very classic Mexican flavors. So guys, what should I start with? Chopping up the salad or making the dressing?
Dressing.
Dressing it is then. I'm going to start with some extra virgin olive oil, 2 tablespoons. And to this, I'm going to add some fresh coriander, which I will just chop up slightly finely. And about 3 cloves of garlic that are just finely minced. And now I'm going to add some dried oregano, just about 2 teaspoons of it. And about 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. Now I'm using lemon juice, but if you can find lime juice, fresh lime juice, that will make all the difference. And then about 3/4 of a teaspoon of cumin powder and some chili flakes. Just about 1/4 of a teaspoon, no more than that, because there's a lot of heat coming from the cumin and the coriander, so I don't want to add too much chili to it. Add never without any salt. And now just give this dressing a nice whisk so that the flavors can really combine and meld together. And like all dressings, the longer it sits, the stronger the flavors get. So I'm just going to move on to chopping up the salad. I'm going to start with the lettuce. This is just about 200 grams of lettuce that I'm just going to roughly chop into bite-sized pieces. You know, it's very important to chop up the lettuce into bite-sized pieces because, you know, I'm pretty sure we've all been to restaurants where you've been served a salad and the lettuce is just too big and clumsy to eat. That's not a pretty picture. So don't do that when you're making salad at home. Just put it all in one bowl. Now I'm just going to add some tomatoes, and it's starting to look colorful already. Some corn that I've just charred slightly. I just feel that it gives it a deeper flavor, so I just like it slightly charred. And it's never a Mexican salad without some kidney beans. So I've got about 1/2 cup that's been boiled, and it's completely cooked, not raw. And now for the avocado. Every time you buy an avocado, and even though you kind of know how to feel your way through getting a ripe one, it's always a surprise when you cut it open. Now, do as I say and not as I do, because I should have probably got a bigger knife to do this, but I haven't. But I'm still managing to cut it open. And just scoop this out and add it to the salad. So this is not mushy ripe, it's just about ripe, which is fine. Okay, so the avocado is in the bowl as well, and now it's time for me to add this lovely dressing. So just add some of it and just toss the salad through. Always add the dressing in parts, just so that you've covered all of the salad and you don't have, you know, one patch which has more of the dressing than the other. And then sort of toss it through. You know, just as I'm tossing the salad, I've just remembered that I completely forgot to add the spring onion to it. But, you know, it's never too late. I'm just going to add it right now. Just snip some of this in. And just continue tossing. So the salad is really well tossed through and I'm ready to serve it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And you know, this can accompany your dinner tonight if you're having sandwiches, if you're having pasta. It's a really hearty and filling accompaniment to anything that you decide to make for dinner. So guys, My Mexican salad is now ready, and I promise you, just one bite of this and you'll realize just how Indian the flavors are. Hi guys! So today I'm going to show you how to make the most awesome chocolate cake. And by the way, it's completely vegan. What? Are you trying to tell me that there are no milk, butter or eggs in this cake? That's right, there's no butter, eggs or milk in this cake. You know what? She just never believes me, but I'm going to show you how to whip up this beauty. Let's see. I'm going to start by getting this cake pan ready. I'm going to use a loose bottom cake pan, and it's really important to use this loose bottom cake pan because the cake is going to end up being really moist and tender, and to turn it out of a regular cake pan is going to be a bit of a problem. So a parchment paper lined cake pan will just work out much better. I'm greasing this pan and the parchment paper with some oil. Normally you would use butter to grease a cake pan, but this is a vegan cake, remember? So there's no butter in this. I'm using oil instead. You can use either canola or sunflower oil to grease the pan. Really, the idea is to use a neutral flavored oil so that the oil doesn't leave its own strong flavor in the cake. So this is my biggest secret when I bake a chocolate cake, is that I dust the pan with some cocoa powder instead of using regular flour. This way the cake will slide out more easily, plus you won't get any white specks on the cake. I've just got the oven preheating to 190 degrees Celsius, and here's some lukewarm water. Lukewarm, not boiling, you should just be able to stick your finger in it comfortably. And I'm adding it to half a cup of cocoa powder. I'm just going to whisk it to get the lumps out. That's all nicely mixed up. I'm just going to set it aside so that it can cool a bit and get going with the dry ingredients. So I've got 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour here, and I'm adding 1 cup of caster sugar. I'm adding 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of salt, and just whisk it all together. You want all the dry ingredients nicely mixed up together and evenly distributed. Now, as much as is possible, make a well in the center of the dry ingredients and pour in this cocoa mixture and half a cup of, again, a neutral flavored oil like canola or sunflower. I've got canola here though. And a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now just whisk all of this together. Again, no hand mixer or electric beater required. You can just use a regular balloon whisk and whisk all of this together till there are no lumps. There's no problem of overmixing or overbeating this batter because there are no eggs in this batter or butter for that matter. Just beat it to get the lumps out. I reckon this works. Now for my secret ingredient in this batter, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of plain white vinegar. This plain white vinegar is what's going to combine with the baking soda in the batter to give the cake the rise that it requires. Now I'm going to pour this batter into the prepared cake pan, and it looks just so good. I could eat it as it is. Off to bake. So the cake takes generally about 30 to 40 minutes to bake, and now I'm going to let it cool on this wire rack for about 20 minutes. After 20 minutes of letting the cake cool, just take a knife and run it along the edges of the pan, just to make sure that the cake is not sticking to the sides of the pan. Now I'm just going to open up the cake pan. Fingers crossed! I'm gently taking the bottom off to let the cake cool completely. And in the meantime, I'm going to make the chocolate glaze. So I've got 50 grams of chocolate that I've melted and cooled slightly. Just whisk this glossy chocolate. And I'm adding 1/3 cup of sifted icing sugar. So it's starting to get a little lumpy. That's when I'm going to add some warm water. And just make sure that this is warm water, and again, not boiling water or anything. Now I'm just adding the rest of the icing sugar. Just work quickly to whisk it. If you don't follow a vegan lifestyle, you don't have to make this glaze. You could make a ganache. But even if you don't follow a vegan lifestyle, think of this as a much lighter chocolate cake to eat. Yeah, now the glaze is ready. So the cake's cooled completely, and now for the exciting part of adding the glaze. I'm going to very gently lift the parchment paper off, and because we've greased and dusted it so much, it's not stuck to the bottom of the cake at all. But you do have to do this very carefully nevertheless, because it's such a gentle little cake. This is going to be so awesome. Now I'm just going to pour all of the glaze, which has been cooled, on top of this cake. Just watch that. Oh my god. Just get all of that there. And use an offset spatula to just spread it around. And you can see that it's starting to set over the cake already. It's time to cut a nice big piece of this cake to impress someone, don't you think? It's a very moist, crumbed cake, so you just have to be a little careful that you don't break it when you pull it out. Look at that. Not bad. You're getting good at this. See? I told you. Wouldn't it be great if you just woke up in the morning and your breakfast was waiting for you? I know it sounds like magic, but I'm going to show you how to make chilled overnight oats, which you can just top up with some fresh fruits in the morning. I usually make this ahead of time when I know that I'm going to have a rushed morning with little or no time for breakfast. I've just got equal amounts of oats and milk that I'm going to put together. These are instant oats, but you can use rolled oats as well. They work really well too. It's about 2/3 cup. These sit really comfortably in the refrigerator overnight and are just ready for you to eat in the morning. Sometimes I just rush out with the jar itself. Just about half a tablespoon of basil seeds or chia seeds. Okay, and a dash of cinnamon while it started raining outside. And now for my favorite part, honey. I'm adding just a tablespoon right now. And honey is what I'm using right now, but you can use agave nectar, maple syrup, or even brown sugar. An equal amount of milk. Just stir it together really well. Just seal it really tightly before you leave it in the refrigerator overnight. Right, so the oats have been in the refrigerator overnight. I'm just going to taste it to see if I want to adjust any flavors. It's soaked up a lot of the milk, and I want a slightly runnier oatmeal, so I'm just going to add a little bit more milk, not too much. You can leave it as is if you like your oatmeal thicker. Now I'm going to start layering it with the fruits. Nothing like bananas, you get them all year round, and they're just so healthy. Okay, I reckon that's enough of the bananas. And now for my favorite, fresh apricots, just to give that little pop of color. I bet you're never going to find oatmeal to be boring after this. And there, my breakfast is now ready. If you're looking for an awesome seafood starter recipe, this is just the right one for you because we're going to be making chili garlic prawns. It's spicy, has loads of garlic, so let's get started with the recipe. We're going to need to batter fry the prawns and then later on cook a lip-smacking sauce for it. The first thing that goes into making this batter is 2 tablespoons of corn flour and 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of garlic paste, 1 teaspoon of ginger paste, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, and about 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper powder. And now to make this batter really nice and crisp for the prawns, I'm going to add 1 egg. Just crack that into the bowl. And just whisk everything together. Just make sure that this batter is nice and smooth and without any lumps. And as soon as you get that consistency, it's time to drop in about 300 grams of, I've got medium-sized prawns, so just drop all of them in one go. Just mix the prawns really well into this batter, making sure that they're coated completely. The oil is nice and hot, so it's time to start frying off the prawns. As soon as these start turning nice and golden, make sure that you flip them over so that they're evenly cooked and of the same color. The first batch of prawns is nicely cooked, they're nice and golden. So I'm just going to take them out of this hot oil and leave them to drain on a paper towel. One batch of prawns is nicely fried, so I'm just going to fry off the second batch. That's it. Now we're going to move on to making a really lip-smacking sauce for these chili garlic prawns. The first thing I'm going to start with is heating up the wok. And while that heats up, I'm going to make a corn flour slurry. So I've got 1 tablespoon of corn flour here. To this, I'm also going to add 1 tablespoon of water and whisk that into a really smooth paste. The wok has heated up really nicely, and to this I'm going to add 2 to 3 tablespoons of oil. I'm just using some of the leftover oil from frying the prawns. And now to this I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of finely minced garlic, half a tablespoon of some finely minced ginger. Just cook these till the raw aroma goes away. Now it's time to add some spring onions. I'm using the equivalent of 2 spring onions, the white parts that have just been sliced up. Now these are, after all, chili garlic prawns. We've got plenty of garlic in. So now I'm going to add 3 green chilies that have just been slit in half. Again, just saute these. Take the flame up to a medium one and immediately add 1 green capsicum that's been cut up into chunks. And stir fry this. And about half a teaspoon of some pepper powder. Now to this, add about 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. This is a dark soy sauce. Half a tablespoon of chili sauce. And about a 1/4 cup of water. Just mix everything together. And just almost immediately add the corn flour slurry that we had made earlier. Make sure that you whisked it again, it's been sitting for a while. Keep everything moving in the pan and just drizzle that in and quickly whisk it together. Very quickly add the fried prawns. Toss them to coat with that sauce really fast. Just taste these at this stage. If you feel the need to add a little bit more salt right now, please add it because we've added plenty of soy sauce earlier. So I'm just going to add very little. Just sprinkle that in. And again, very quickly, toss it together. These chili garlic prawns are almost ready. I'm going to turn off the flame. Add a 1/4 teaspoon of plain white vinegar. And again, very quickly, just toss it through. These chili garlic prawns are absolutely ready, so I'm just going to serve them up because I can't wait to eat them.